Welcome back, everybody, to the Filmmaker Focus Poll. I'm your host, Carsonus from Creationist. Thanks again for coming. Okay, I probably need a new one of those. Oh, do have comments up for anybody. But let's hop right into it. I hope you guys have been having an amazing day. I've had one myself. And we're just going to jump right in. I was actually watching a friend's live stream, but I need to hop on this quickly because I don't want to keep you guys waiting. So as always, we have capture at the very top. And with this, I have been capturing a lot of practice footage, actually. Even practice editing. I find that whenever I get new gear or a new camera or just anything new that I just want to try out, I will kind of force my friends to help me make a stupid little project. And by that I mean I was making a smoothie maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and I shot the whole thing handheld, but I set up my aperture light, I got positioning right, I was coming up with kind of a beginning and end, just something really quick and no pressure at all. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is that people put too much pressure on their projects, and it makes you just not want to actually go ahead and shoot it when you should, because if you don't get the practice whenever it comes to actually performing, you won't be able to actually perform properly. And I noticed that a lot with my unicycling. But yeah, make sure to capture more, and it doesn't matter if it's actually being posted or not. I shot the whole thing in maybe 40 minutes or so, edited for 30, so a total of 70 minutes, and then I actually uploaded it to YouTube. You guys couldn't see it because I made it private, and it's just something I'm going to be able to look back on, and I'm really going to appreciate it. So make sure to get out there and capture. And headed down to the next part of the Filmmaker Focus Poll is going to be direction. And again, this is indicated, moving the couch slightly. With direction, I'm just trying to, one, get out of my cinematographer's mindset. Not saying that, let me describe what I mean by that. By cinematographer's mindset, I mean essentially seeing stuff in strictly a visual standpoint. And I feel like I've said in prior videos, that I need to work on storytelling. And not only on storytelling, but my story that is being told throughout the films. What am I trying to get out of each film that I make? It's not just something to do for fun. I mean, it is, granted, a passion of mine, film, but at the same time, I want to inspire new ideas. I want to give my own perspective. So I've been trying to flip the script, no pun intended, on the mindset that I'm giving into my work, and that's definitely being followed by direction. I'm just trying to change my mindset from strictly a visual standpoint to seeing more of a story and how I can relate my own experiences into the visuals as well. But just overall getting what's out here onto a camera. And then as well with direction is I want to follow my instinct more. I've been listening, on the drive to Charleston this past weekend, while I was doing a wedding gig, second shooting, so there was not too much pressure there, but still I had to have that practice for performing. Anyway, on the drive there, I was actually listening to a new Audible called The 5-Second Rule. And essentially, the basis of the book is you have 5 seconds before your brain tells you to stop. And what was her name? I think Mel. I can't remember off top at the moment, but anyway, check out the 5-second rule. Essentially what she says is count in your head 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do something physically, make an action, because you're biologically you affect your psychological like mindset. So go off on your instinct. And I actually did that this past wedding whenever I saw a shot. I saw a shot, and the couple was in a very nice Corvette, and I wanted to get this shot, and they were about to get out, and you know, that 5 second just kind of kicked in, and I was like, wait. You know, as a second shooter, I'm just like, I don't feel like I should speak much, but I'm glad I did, and Robert was happy I did too. He's like, yeah, this madman, he gets crazy shots, so he did let me go ahead and get the shot. I don't know if it's really going to be exactly what he wants, but I'm really glad I went for my instinct, and I think that's something we need to do more, is get out of our comfort zone. Because if our mind is telling us something, we probably should do it. And 9 times out of 10, the things that scare you are the things you should do. So that's going to be direction number 1. It was number 1 last week, and I want to keep it at the top. Oh, actually, I have a transition for this one, guys. Brand new. I hope you guys enjoy it. I mean, it's very, very simplistic. That's how I like it. All of these I try to just keep nice and centered and focused. Okay, and then headed down. Last week we had creativity. In creativity, I was talking about writing, how I say that writing is the biggest part whenever it comes to filmmaking. And I think we all need to be more writers. I think we all have it in us. If you are a storyteller with friends, you can be a storyteller in your videos. Although, that being said, creativity is not going to be next on the list. We are actually going to be doing preparation. And like I was saying, with practice for your performance, you need to make sure you're prepared. And how I get prepared for a wedding shoot is I will work out back, buys, and chest. As crazy as it sounds, I will work out pretty hard. Not necessarily the day right before, but I like to go 2 days before. That way I can really make sure I am ready to hold this gimbal for several hours doing crazy stunts. There was actually one moment where I had this pole, this monopod, fully extended, about, I'd say, 15 feet. Having my whole entire camera equipment elevated 15 feet, balancing it, just so I can get the shot going through the trees. It looks like a drone, but obviously drone quality does not look like these DSLRs and mirrorless and whatnot. But yeah, preparation, that's going to be up there for this week. And down to the next one, we are actually keeping method, and that is because I am fine-tuning my workflow, not only for the Filmmaker Focus Poll, but I am fine-tuning my workflow with Robert. Robert is the guy I shoot with. He is very good at what he does. He's actually been shooting weddings back whenever there was actually like DV tapes and everything, and he told me this like horror story of he shot like the reception, the ceremony, and then whenever he got to the reception, he was looking back at his footage and he re-recorded over it. So that, I mean, he said he felt sick to his stomach, and I can only imagine I would feel the exact same way. Thankfully, we have digital, and digital is a godsend. Thank you for making video so easy. Oh, I need a little bit of this. My mouth's getting dry. Back on my kombucha. Let's see what the message is today. The gate to happiness is self-compassion, guys. But yep, we are gonna hit method. But yep, method, and I did forget it, but preparation and then method. So we are looking at direction so far, then preparation, and then we have method. I think this is definitely a great start for this week to have on the top of the poll. And last week we had innovation, and that's going to be changing as well. We are going to bring up perspective from last week, and with perspective, I'm actually finding, like I said, with the gimbal going very high, I am testing out a lot more high and low shots. I love that song by the Black Keys. If you haven't heard it, my friend actually did like a little drum beat solo type deal on the first episode of Ridiculous Rigs. Not the best episode, but I needed something I could grow from. Anyway, great song. But your perspective changes, not only getting high and low shots, but as you go through the highs and lows of life, or as my English teacher in, I think it was 11th grade would say, vicissitudes. So that's the word of the week, vicissitudes. Maybe I'll have a little more of those. I love vocabulary. I think it's because I'm a designer. But yeah, perspective. The highs and lows are really going to change the way you outlook. So being able to create during each part of your life, not only the good but also the bad, you will make masterpieces. And a lot of people actually made most of their masterpieces in their lows. So don't necessarily take for granted being sad and emotional. You might be able to help someone out in your films, so definitely work on that. Also, talking about comfort zone with direction earlier, I find perspective changes the more you do. So if I could tell y'all to do anything this week, is do more. I just actually got off of a phone call. I don't cold call for my business as I should, but I called her up, and I was unicycling last night. I called her up because I saw her sign. And so I was like, hey, I was unicycling by, your place and whatnot. I saw you have your place listed, and have you considered getting video? Turns out she actually had the place under contract, which is great for her. And I'm excited. It's a very nice location. And I thought it was odd because the address was 843, and if you live in Myrtle Beach, 843 is our area code. So I thought that'd be a cool place to shoot. But yeah, I was happy I got out of my comfort zone, and now I feel a little bit more up to cold calling, because it is going to be a crucial part of any business, at least one starting up, before you really get a lot of referrals going. But yep, we're going to throw perspective right there next, and then I will pop this up. Perspective. It's a great one. I'm glad I have perspective up on my outlook. So next we are gonna head from, it was sound. Wow, this is my preparation looking bad right now. That's usually the mic. We're just gonna point to this. It was sound, although we are gonna go and grab creativity, and we're gonna put that right below perspective. So thinking about your highs and lows and storytelling all together, make sure that every good story needs a plot and a subplot. And what I mean by that is that a plot is the action happening, and the subplot is the meaning, what you want the audience to get from it. So sometimes you could find the subplot first and then try to make the plot, or vice versa. Right now I'm kind of working backwards because I have a subplot in mind, but I don't know what action I actually want to do, because I'm relating it to something in my own life, although I don't like the action that was, given in my circumstance. I'd rather, make it a little more entertaining. So got to work on that plot. But yeah, creativity next on the poll. And then headed down, last week we had preparation right here, although it did move up. We are going to have light. This was a fun one this week. So I got a new camera. I'll talk about that on another video. But I got a new camera and a new lens, and I didn't want to hurt my lens, so I bought both a UV filter and I also bought an ND filter. Although the UV filter, which is, camera turned off. Oh, I love these automatic timers. I'm sorry guys. Technical difficulties. Oh my, I need to turn off these timers. That looks great. Sorry for the green mess, guys. All right, we are back online. My apologies. That was zero light right there. Anyway, lighting. The biggest trouble I had with lighting this past week was whenever I decided to use an ND filter towards the end of sunset. My friend Ty and I, we are very notorious for chasing the sunset. And an ND filter is practically sunglasses. And whenever it's dark outside, you don't want sunglasses. You can tell in real life you can't see. I mean, you are blind. Although I had to crank up my ISO. And with that, the image was looking grainier, but it was a good test for the camera. So if I had to say anything about lighting for this week, is shoot earlier. I don't care how much time you think you have, give yourself another 30, 45, even an hour more, because lighting goes so quick. And especially with summer waning, it's only going to get earlier. So if you guys want to get sunset, unless you're a sunrise type of person, there's not many out there. If you want the sunset, shoot earlier. So yep, lighting. It's going to be a very crucial one. Oh, that's direction. Okay, so I duplicated on my program lighting for direction, and it turns out that direction just took both of them. So I don't have a transition for lighting today. Another preparation issue. But I'm going to get through it. And next one we have, it was perspective, which we moved up, and now we are going to bring up innovation. Innovation, guys. This is always a fun one. And the innovation I really saved for this past week, it wasn't anything crazy. It was cranking up that ISO, as dumb as that sounds. Because I had to do what I had to do. I'm not going to take off that ND filter. This new lens is honestly my dream lens, and I'm so thankful I was able to save up for it. And I don't want to hurt it, so I was going to keep that ND filter on. Thankfully, I have the UV filter now. But crank up that ISO. Do what you have to. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of grain in your image. It's not going to be the end of the world. I mean, honestly, stylistically, people like grain. Not everyone. It depends what you're going for. But if you have to get a little bit of grain in there, or you think that you need a new camera or all this new fancy equipment, you don't. You don't need it. Innovation is all about using what you have. And at that moment, what I had was degrading my quality, but it got the job done. And I made it happen because of innovation. Okay, guys, we are almost done with this one. So, at the end of last week, we had at the very bottom was lighting. I had that for 2 weeks. I see why it moved up. It was bound to happen, although now we have sound. And sound, what I would say is just gather more and more and more sound. You can never have enough sound. The rule of thumb is get 30 seconds to a minute before you start shooting a scene, and then 30 to 60 seconds after you shot a scene. And that's just for the sheer fact that if you have a scene where two people are talking and you need to cut in between there, you don't want to hear like them talking and background noise and then it goes to pure silence, because pure silence is scary. If you have headphones on and you're editing and you just hear pure silence and you are a little spooked, the audience is definitely going to be spooked. So gather more sound, more audio, sound effects, birds, water, wind, everything. Just gather more. Just like how I said do more, gather more. So that's going to be sound. Keep that on the top of your mind, even though it's on the bottom of the pole. I've said many times before that the Filmmaker focus poll is not necessarily how it should be. It's just how, based on each week, I have looked out and decided these are going to be the top of my focus. Everyone can have a different focus poll, and I'd love to hear yours. So you can always comment if you have any suggestions or maybe a story you have and how you can correlate with the Filmmaker focus poll. And then at the very end, we are going to have support as usual. And what I actually found was with support for your camera, you can actually have one handle, just one extra handle. Granted, you might need a cage, but you can buy one of those one handles that I actually have for this guy. Put this on the left side of your camera, and I promise your handheld footage, I've been playing around with it, and I was so shocked. It almost looks like using a whole gimbal, but it's handheld, which is awesome because if you're going for a very personal feel, handheld is always the way to go. I think gimbals are a little overrated, although I do use them for weddings. It does give that dreamy look, so that's what they're going for, and that's what I'm going for whenever I'm shooting a wedding. Although for a lot of other stuff, I think handheld is a great option. I mean, a lot of news reporters, you don't see them walking around with glide cams and whatnot. I mean, it's like, whenever it's news, you want it to feel real and raw, so that's why they have these shoulder rigs. It's all handheld, and so just adding an extra little handle, you can go a long ways. And with that being said, if you haven't checked out Ridiculous Rigs, I'm about to be showing off a new attachment that I have right here. I'm not going to tell you guys yet, but watch this. This is the best thing ever. Wow, like for a wedding, that is the easiest thing ever because I'm not going to be carrying that monopod the whole time. I only want that for really high shots. So being able to pop it on and off instead of screwing it, no brainer. Absolutely no brainer. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this week's episode, episode 8 of the Filmmaker Focus Poll. I'm your host, Carsonis from Creationist. Make sure to surround yourself with ideas that inspire. Also, I'm going to be flying around this. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, put them in right now while I try to fly this. I've been getting better, guys. That practice. This is the performance right here. Oh, up here. A little sippage. Ooh. I was exposed. You saw I had innovation behind there, aka gaff tape. Picked this up from Best Buy. It was only like, I think, 60 bucks. Oh. Oh. With all this stuff in my set, it's probably not the best idea. Oh. Oh. Yep. Yeah, I'm done. Okay. Again, thank you guys for watching. Take care. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.